Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Jeff Moss, founder and director of Black Hat.
Yay! Hey. I feel like David Letterman or something up here with all the bright lights. I know there's an audience out there, but I can hardly see you. So we're going to start with a wave on the right, and we're going to move. No, just kidding. Okay, so before we start off, this is the 13th Black Hat. Can you imagine? It's like this is how big we've gotten in 13 years. And for it, we have the largest conference we've ever done, the most number of submissions we've ever done, and I'm wearing this crazy little head thing. And that's for a reason, because today our keynote will actually be taking some questions after she's done giving her speech. And so I want to be able to roam around, and we'll have people in the audience with microphones to take questions from you guys, and I'll be moderating in the middle. And so that explains this headphone. I'm not about to break out in a song and dance. I know. Okay, so being our 13th conference, I've got a couple of statistics here before I break out into some general remarks I want to make to you. We've got one person from Mongolia here. Mongolia is in the house. And yeah. And then we've got one person from Acadia, Algeria, and 2 people from the Cayman Islands, 2 from Iran, 1 from Ghana, and 19 from China, 22 from Brazil, 3 from Brunei, and then good old our allies here, United Kingdom with 95, but Canada beats them with 128, and Germany trailing behind at 44. It sounds like a World Cup score. And we have some future Black Hats I just want to get on your calendars. We have the next one that's coming up is our first ever Black Hat in Abu Dhabi, and that's in November, which they tell me November in the Middle East is a good time to be there, so I'll find out. My total experience is 2 days in and out of the country, which was gorgeous, and we're really excited to get to Abu Dhabi and try a new market and really see there seems to be a lot of energy there. So if you're interested in submitting, call for papers is open. We're looking for some really good submissions for Abu Dhabi, so we could get you out there and maybe even do a little desert safari action. Okay, so a couple of comments, just because things are sort of happening this year that calls for them again. I've got this rant, and I've tamed it, and it's the keynotes we try to select here are meant to sort of frame larger issues and expose you to sort of a bigger world, right? We're all heads down, we're dealing with technical specific problems, and every once in a while it's probably pretty good to get an idea of like, what's the bigger world we're all operating in? What's the larger context that we do this for? You know, is it for society or for your business or for individual advancement? And so we selected a keynote that would really help kind of try to expose you to a larger perspective. But also, I kind of want us to think here for a minute, now that we've been doing this for so long, like, what security problems have we like fundamentally solved? And I can't really think of any. I mean, yes, little point solutions and patch updates and things like that, but I still can't think of any real big things we killed. Like X25 security just kind of went away because we moved on to the internet, to TCP/IP, and I'm still thinking, can we send email securely today? I don't think so. Can we route packets securely? Can we resolve names securely? Can we browse the web securely? No. But we've got like 50,000 antivirus vendors and 20,000 widgets, and I'm trying to understand what are the incentives? Why can't we solve these larger problems that are so fundamental to the underpinnings of everything we do? And for our country and every country in the world, the internet is an engine for innovation and commerce, and yet we don't seem to want to put the energy forth, or we're incapable of putting the energy forth to secure the fundamental underpinnings. Except, happily today, in 1999 I gave a speech at CSI, and during that speech I was so excited because they ratified the DNSSEC RFC. And I was like, yay! It's the first time now we're putting a nail in the coffin of a problem that's been haunting us forever, since its inception pretty much, since the bad guys figured out how to cache poison. And now it's like 11 years later. And finally, ICANN today will be making an announcement that the root is officially signed, and hopefully we can now move on to the business of implementing DNSSEC instead of just talking about DNSSEC. You'll be seeing talks about RSnake, and some guys have some great research about all the reasons why SSL is pretty much fundamentally broken in the way that we use it to conduct secure commerce online. SSL needs to get fixed. Browsing needs to get fixed. And so I want you to think about, in whatever endeavor you're in, how could you possibly help fix the underlying foundations of the internet? And then we can build all this extra stuff on top, whether it's a new technology or whether it's getting involved in another in a project that's helping to work on a more secure email, or the research on the SBGP initiatives, or more likely in this group, we're going to be working on web app security and back-end database security, cloud security. So we don't just keep repeating the cycle. It's what's that motivational poster that says, failure, the only thing consistent in your failure is yourself. And we don't want to keep doing this. Let's get some low-hanging fruit. Let's pluck some low-hanging fruit. Let's solve a couple of these problems and move on. Instead of innovating, we innovate so quickly. I can't tell if security problem is a byproduct of innovation, or is it just because breaking things is easy and solving things is hard, and by nature we like to do the immediate gratification thing. So I just want you to think about that and tell me what you think. Am I crazy? Am I not crazy? But this is something I've been thinking about for years, and I want to finally talk about it in a larger audience and see what you have to say. Okay, with that, I'm going to introduce the introducer of our keynote, Holl Lute. And it's somebody a lot of you already know. He's been in the industry for a long time. He's a serial entrepreneur, started many businesses. Some of them you may have heard of: CC Mail, Verity, payment processing company. Philippe Courtois, who is also over 10 years ago started Qualys. And it's interesting because 10 years ago, what did Qualys do? They were a vulnerability assessment company in 1999. And they started supporting us shortly right after. So for almost 10 years, they've been supporting Black Hat and the community at large. And now, 2010, they've grown into a leader in IT security and compliance management, right? We've added on this management component to it. And now they've moved from being an app to software as a service. They push out a lot of the stuff through the cloud. And they're really trying to be an innovator of this security model. And so with that said, I want to introduce Philippe Courtois. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeff, and thank you for these insightful comments. Good morning. Black Hat, which, as Jeff reminded us, started about 13 years ago when I was young and beautiful like him, as I sincerely believe, has become the most important event in our industry. And this is very simply because it brings together the best mind and I would say the most dedicated researcher in security. I think today it's very clear that security needs a significant community effort. It cannot be anymore a few companies and a few key talented researchers to solve the problem. I think it requires obviously the collaboration on the global scale of the industry, governments. And I think it's also very important that they and we, if you prefer, leverage the talent of the community. And that's obviously easier said than done. We need to provide the tools also for the community to essentially be capable of collaborating together, and this is a commitment that Qualys has. And with that in mind, it's really a unique privilege for me to introduce our keynote. She brings a very unique experience. with her career in the military and at the United Nations. And she has now a very